What's going on, everybody? Jay the Black here, back with another video. Shout out to everybody for tuning in. I want to talk about this particular story from Fox News. I sent different articles about it, and it's about this guy, this Richard Mason. Okay, he is a 55-year-old businessman from the UK who found out in 2016 that he had, what is it called, cystic fibrosis, which, according to him, means that he can't father children. But what's interesting is that he had been raising 3 boys for a number of years. And what ended up happening is his wife had an affair in the late 90s. And all 3 of those boys were by that guy. What a way to get to basically be found out that you're a cheater. This stuff actually happens, but you don't see a situation where a father has raised children from, when they were young kids to basically young adults, and then he finds out that they're not his. Now that has to be an emotional reckoning situation. Here you have a guy who's seemingly a smart guy. He's a businessman. He's made a lot of money. He ended up divorcing this woman and paying her $4 million. Okay? $4 million. And now she was ordered to pay him back for basically paternity fraud. Paternity fraud happens a lot, but you don't really see women either be held accountable for it, have to pay back any money. It's almost like it is what it is. You sign the birth certificate, that's your child. That's why I think some of these laws need to be changed. This is exactly why men don't want to get married. They don't want to have children. Because let's say that they're in a relationship with a woman, she gets pregnant, and he's raising this child, and then he finds out the child isn't his. He's still on the hook for child support. And that child has already been raised by him. So what is he going to do? He's going to abandon the child? According to Fox News, a British man stumbled upon his ex-wife's infidelity in an unusual way through a medical exam and found out he wasn't the biological father of their 3 sons. When Richard Mason's doctor informed him in 2016 that he had cystic fibrosis, he also noted that his patient was unable since birth to have biological children because of the condition. The infertility came as a shock to Mason, who had or thought he had produced 3 sons with his ex-wife, to whom he had been married 20 years. He had raised them since 1995, believing they were his own. But they were the children of a former co-worker of Kate Mason, with whom she had a 4-year affair with, according to the Daily Telegraph. Let me just say this though, a lot of affairs happen in the workplace because you got co-workers who get close to each other. They see each other every day. They go on lunch breaks every day. They know each other's schedule. They know how to get time for each other. And see, they're at work, so you don't know what's going on. There's a lot of cheating that goes on at the job, man. Trust and believe, there's a lot of cheating that goes on at the job. Women, if they're going to cheat on a guy, they're not going to cheat with a guy off the internet like that or in their neighborhood. It's going to be a guy at their job. It's going to be a situation where they can get away with it. Because it's easy for them to get away with cheating if they work with a guy, because their husband or boyfriend won't know, because their husband or boyfriend won't be paying attention to what they're doing at work. They can still come home at the same time. They leave home early in the morning at the same time, so you don't think anything is going on. But what about that lunch break? What about those days where she takes off work an hour early? You know? You don't know what's real and what isn't. It's as if I'm living in the Matrix, Mason told the Daily Mail. Someone says to you all that you know and everything you thought to be solid and true is not real and never did exist. You are not a father. You are not able to have kids. Your name will not continue. That's an interesting point what he just said. Because men who are successful, they want to leave a legacy. And their legacy, of course, will go to their children. But when you don't have biological children, there's no legacy to leave. There's no legacy to leave. So all that work you're doing is going to be for nothing because it's not going to be passed on to anybody. And I can understand what he's saying in that particular portion. Mason, who is a 55-year-old founder of the comparison site moneysupermarket.com, sued his ex-wife demanding roughly $5.8 million he paid her in their 2008 divorce settlement. He also wanted the matter of paternity fraud addressed, though it is unclear in what manner. His ex-wife has agreed to settle, but as long as she doesn't need to name the children's biological father. Really? Wow. Do you know why she doesn't want people to know his name? Because he's probably married, maybe to a woman that she knows. Might be a guy who she probably still talks to. A guy who she respects. You see, she didn't respect her husband. Okay? He paid this woman $5 million, a woman who was cheating on him and was getting pregnant from the side dude. And even though she never got into a relationship with the side dude, even after she divorced her husband, she still don't want to name his name. Because women respect the side dudes more than they respect the husbands. This is proof of it. And the dude is probably, not as successful as her ex. She's ashamed of that. Okay? And I just feel like these type of women are why men just don't want to get married, because you cannot trust them. They're very sneaky. Let's see. Richard Mason's counsel, Roger Terrell, said to the Telegraph, I think it was the major reason for her settling. I was shocked and surprised that she settled. I thought we were going to have a very acrimonious court battle. We were confident that we could get a court order whereby the ex-wife, the mother of the children, would have to name the father. So they were going to force her to name the father, and she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it because she didn't want those kids. Well, she didn't want the embarrassment. She didn't want everybody at her job or her old job to know that she was screwing around, probably screwing around with her office supervisor, which is who a lot of these women end up screwing around with. These women don't really screw around with the coworkers. They screw around with the supervisors, the guys who are in charge. They're throwing themselves at these guys. Well, so they can have a little bit more stroke around the office. But she doesn't want the embarrassment of everybody knowing that she was having sex with this particular guy while she was married to this other guy. So she settled because she didn't want the embarrassment. I don't even think it had anything to do with the kids either. Let's see. She didn't want to name the father. Why? We don't know. This is why she came to a financial settlement, and in the settlement, she did not have the name. She did not have to name the father. That's ridiculous. Your ex-husband is not the father of your 3 sons. And instead of putting everybody's mind at ease, instead of you telling your sons the truth, instead of you being honest with your sons, you want to keep the lie going so you don't look bad, so your sons don't turn on you. That's the mindset of women like this. They only care about themselves. They only want to make themselves look good. Forget everybody else. They only want to make themselves look good. Richard Mason very much wants the biological father to identify himself so that the children know who he is, the newspaper said. But a source whom the newspaper described only as close to the family said the sons are not interested in knowing about him. You know what's crazy? One of his sons came out publicly and denounced his father. The guy who took care of him, the guy who was lied to, the guy who found out a couple of years ago that he wasn't the biological father. And you got one of the sons who's angry at the dad. He ain't angry at his thought mama. He's angry at the dad who was manipulated, embarrassed. He was cucked by his ex-wife. And you're angry at the man who raised you? Are you kidding me? This is what happens when young boys grow up around their mothers who get inside their head and brainwash them against their father. You can tell that she brainwashed them boys against their father. And you know what's interesting? I read another article about this, I believe from Daily Mail, where when their sons were born, she wanted them to have a Jewish christening, so to speak. And that was a red flag to the father, because I don't think the father's Jewish. That should have been a red flag. I'm telling you right now, man, these women respect the side dudes more than they respect their own husband. She cuckolded her own husband, family. And one of the sons is angry at the man who took care of him, who paid his mother $5 million in walk away money. The source, according to the Telegraph, says Mason's public statements about his ex-wife has shocked those who knew the couple. I assume the natural father, whoever he is, has not made any contact and no doubt doesn't even know they exist. His ex-wife revealed she had an on and off affair with the boy's biological father, having the first child in 1995 and the other two, who are twins, in 1999. If that's not thought behavior, if that's not slorish, I don't know what is. And that's disgusting. You're having unprotected sex with one guy, then you're going home and having unprotected sex with your husband. You are disgusting. You're disgusting. But there are going to be people who are going to side with the mother because these women can do no wrong. This guy's life was turned upside down. This guy was probably ready to leave his business, what he built, to his sons, and now he can't. Not because he really don't want to, because he ain't the father, one, and two, one of the sons don't even want to deal with him. Because he's taking his mother's side. Because he is his mother's son. This is an absolute travesty of a story. Now, this guy, Richard Mason, did end up getting engaged again. I don't know if he's gotten remarried yet, but he's with another woman. Hopefully he reads, well, he can't get a woman pregnant. So if she gets pregnant, he already knows that's not his. But, you got to be a little more careful about the women you engage with. I'm pretty sure he does now, but this story just tells y'all, man, if you don't understand the nature of a woman, you're going to continue to get into situations that's going to really embarrass you.